lose that trust, especially in the institution that I'm in, it changes the institution fundamentally. You begin to look over your shoulder. It's like kind of an infidelity.
Justice Clarence Thomas recently lamenting the leak of a draft opinion indicating the Supreme Court will soon overturn Roe versus Wade. While the ruling is not final, Justice Thomas has not weighed in on another issue that has also raised questions about the credibility of the High Court. It's an issue involving someone very close to him and one that may present a major conflict of interest. Emails show his wife, the conservative activist Ginni Thomas, lobbied Arizona state lawmakers to overturn the results of the 2020 election. She messaged 2 state representatives, encouraging them to pick a, quote, clean slate of electors. In other words, Trump-friendly electors to fight unfounded claims of election fraud. This new reporting is in addition to what we learned last month, that Ginni Thomas also sent several texts to former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, urging him to try to overturn the election. The nature of the texts has led to questions about whether Justice Thomas should recuse himself from any future cases related to last year's insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Robert Costa, one of the journalists following this story, tweeted following the remarks by Justice Thomas on the Supreme Court leak. Costa saying Justice Thomas has still not commented on CBS News, Washington Post reporting on his spouse's communications with the Trump White House about legal strategy and personnel in the weeks after the 2020 election. Here now to discuss is Tyler Cooper, senior researcher at Fix the Court. It's a nonpartisan organization pushing for more transparency and accountability at the Supreme Court. Tyler, we appreciate you coming on the show. Now, many lawmakers have called for Justice Thomas to recuse himself, some progressives even calling for him to resign. Neither, of course, have happened. So what is the most likely outcome here? Is there a solution?
Unfortunately, the most likely outcome is that Justice Thomas is going to continue to make decisions that Justice Thomas thinks are appropriate. And unfortunately, there's no ethics code for the Supreme Court, so there's nothing that we can point to compel him to recuse in cases that he has an interest in, his wife has an interest in. However, he should still recuse in those cases because there is a federal statute on recusal, 28 U.S.C. 455, which says that if a judge or justice, their impartiality may reasonably be questioned, then they must disqualify themselves from the case or matter.
Why is there no code of ethics?
The short answer is that it's because the Supreme Court has decided they don't need one, that they are happy with consulting whatever sources that they particularly feel to consult with to decide these sort of questions, and they don't think that it's necessary to go anywhere else. It is interesting that the Supreme Court testified before Congress. Elena Kagan mentioned that Justice Roberts was looking into the question of whether to have a code of conduct specifically covering the Supreme Court. That was a couple of years ago. We've had no updates and no reason to believe that any progress has been made there. So it seems that they are content with the status quo and just chasticating anyone that is going to question them on any kind of issues of recusal.
Now, Republicans have been focusing a lot on the Roe versus Wade leak itself. Let's listen quickly to what Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had to say earlier this month.
The integrity and independence of the Supreme Court is once again under attack.
So given that, how much of an integrity and independence problem is that compared to, say, how politicized the nomination and confirmation of Supreme Court justices has become? I mean, of course, before he became Attorney General, Republicans had blocked Barack Obama's nominee, Merrick Garland, his chances to join the High Court.
Yeah, all these questions over the leak seem to mostly just be a distraction from the situation that we have Justice Alito writing a very, very strong and aggressive opinion overturning a precedent that's stood for 50 years. So we don't even know where the leak came from, whether it was from the liberal side or the conservative side. So we don't know what the motives are. And really the idea that you played a clip earlier of Justice Thomas talking about you have to be looking over your shoulder, you're concerned or something, that doesn't really hold because this is an opinion that was being circulated internally. This was something that was ready for consideration. Sure, he didn't think that this draft would be shared with the public. But it would only be shared amongst each other if it was something that was ready for prime time. This is something that it was full of legal citations. It had 30 pages of appendices at the back. This was something that was ready, that we know that this is at least what Justice Alito believes should happen. So whether it has 5 votes, we'll see it in time. But there's been a lot of kind of distraction over the leak, and it's really, I think, to avoid what the actual outcome of that decision would be and how extreme it is and how extreme Justice Alito wrote that opinion.
Let's talk more broadly about the Supreme Court. President Biden is under pressure from progressives to add more justices to the High Court. That does seem unlikely. So what are some realistic reforms or improvements that could be made to the Supreme Court?
Sure. So there has been interest in Congress in at least legislation that would mandate the Supreme Court adopt its own code of ethics. That seems to be a very minimal bar. It, again, would be tasking the Supreme Court with doing it, so any sort of concerns over Congress picking the code of ethics would be obviated by that. It would be the Supreme Court itself choosing what it wants to hold itself to, just letting us know what that is. So that is legislation that's ongoing. Congress has already acted to hold federal judges and Supreme Court justices to the same sort of transparency related to financial disclosure as they already report to, that was signed by the president just recently. So that's good to see there, and hopefully there'll be more interest in ethics going forward on the Hill.
Tyler Cooper with the nonpartisan organization Fix the Court. We appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.